Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line as I twist
10%.
his arm to be a part of the fucking show. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com.
You know, at this point, it's a contractual obligation with no contract. I'm just doing it.
I know, right? There's no contract. There's no nothing. Somebody asked me, they're like, how'd you find Mike?
How are you today, man?
I'm doing good. Somebody asked me that one time. They're like, how did you find Mike? And I go, I emailed Cinemablend, and I was like, I need someone to talk movies with, and they gave me Mike, and it's just been love ever since.
Yeah, it really was just, I don't even remember when our anniversary is, but I just remember my editors got a random email, and they're like, and he's like, do you want it? I was like, yeah, sure. I'd love to be on the radio.
Hey.
But
yeah, sure.
This has been a lot of fun.
Sure, I'll talk to that dip in Iowa.
Iowa, isn't that where potatoes come from?
Absolutely. And you know what? If we gave a about potatoes, we'd probably grow them better than Idaho. All right, friends, we're here to talk about movies this week. By the way, real quick, Mike Reyes is in the process of trying to buy a house. Everybody wish him luck and send him good vibes as we need to get you that house.
Oh, thank you.
So we can...
It'll happen. It will happen.
So we can be like, all right, coming from the east wing of the Reyes estate this week.
Which will just be the kitchen.
Yeah, pretty
or
much.
Like the back porch.
All right, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com as we do get into movies this week. The big one, probably the one people will know the most, Minions. The new Minions movie's out this weekend, right?
Yeah, Minions, The Rise of Gru.
You know what?
Fifth film in the Despicable Me universe.
Which is weird because you're not a giant fan of this series, right?
I think this whole thing peaked with Despicable Me 2.
Okay.
Because I remember when Despicable Me 2 was coming out, it's like, oh, I've never seen Despicable Me 1. Let me watch it. Despicable Me 1 was hysterical. I was like, that's great. It has this, cute, sweet energy to it. A lot of fun. And then Despicable Me 2, I was like really into that. Like it was seriously fun. And then even the first Minions movie was okay. But I could feel things sort of trending towards too much Minions. Like at that point, the Facebook memes sort of started and all the saturation was really building up. And it just got to a point where it's like, I can't stand these little yellow things anymore. And then Minions: The Rise of Gru happened, and it confirmed every one of my beliefs. This is a movie that might even have diehard Despicable Me fans upset, because the whole thing is, now that we've met, the Minions met Gru at the end of Minions 1. They're all hanging around, and it's like a prequel to Gru's rise to Gruness. He wants to become part of this body called the Vicious Six, and they're like the League of Doom for the Despicable Me world.
Okay.
Like all the creme de la creme villains go there, and little 11 3/4 Gru wants to be in it. And he runs afoul of them by stealing an artifact that they stole from a temple. And it basically has the power to turn people into like creatures of the Chinese zodiac. This movie is so messy. There are like 3 different plot lines. They introduce another main minion, and it's just really, there's like 3 times I laughed in this movie, and for the rest of the time I'm just like, okay, I get it. Minions, I get it. And I think the problem with this is it doesn't know, well, it knows it wants to be a Despicable Me movie. It can't be a Despicable Me movie because Minions is the big branding right now. And like Despicable Me 4 will be coming in 2 years if this doesn't cancel it. I mean, if this does well enough that it can keep it on the board.
Wow, you think this one's that bad?
It is merciless. Like, it's a colorful movie, and I'm probably seeing it again for 3D because to review the 3D, it looks like it's going to be fantastic for 3D.
Okay.
Like, that is something that this series always has been really good about, is building in 3D gags where it's like you could look at a shot in 2D and it's like, that's got to be good in 3D, or that's got to be something that, like, it looks like they paid so much attention to the visuals on this that the 3D is going to knock you out.
Okay. Well,
it's just that the movie itself is boring.
Which is surprising because it seems like there's some of these movies that you get really into just in our long history of doing this, as we were talking about at the beginning of this. Like some of these animated movies that come out, you surprise me with how much you like them, and then, something like Minions comes out, and no, not a fan.
That's just family. When you get to a certain age, that's just what family movies, how they play out with you. Like when you get to a certain point, animated movies like this that are squarely in the family wheelhouse, and I'm not talking about like Pixar, who for quite a while has done fantastic work with grounding bigger stories in an animated medium. When you go for something that's just so clearly aimed for like toy sales and young kids that like loud and color, that it really just there's only a certain tolerance that can be. There's a limit, man. There is a limit, and this movie pushed my limits.
All right, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line to talk about movies. What else is opening this week?
Yes, if you are a Hulu subscriber,
yes,
you will get to watch the film The Princess. Oh, then you should watch The Princess.
Okay.
It stars Joey King, who is going to be in Bullet Train this summer, but she was also in things like White House Down, and I think she was in those Kissing Booth movies for Netflix. I forget what that was called.
Okay.
But anyway, she's fantastic in this, and the whole premise is I'm going to sell this to you the way I saw it in the production notes and the way that I talked about it with the cast. Die Hard meets The Raid meets Tangled.
Oh, my God, really?
R-rated.
Done. Sold.
This is an hour and a half of pure adrenaline where a princess that's been betrothed to a psychotic prince, played by Dominic Cooper, good old young Howard Stark. She's been betrothed to this horrible psychopath. She won't marry him. She's locked in the tower, and she's got to fight her way down and save her family and her kingdom. This is Joey King's first big action movie. She put a lot of work into this. There's 12 fights in this movie. This movie's about an hour and a half. There are 12 fights. I did not even know that. I didn't even know that until I was reading the notes for my interviews, and it's like, wait, 12 fights? Are you serious? But this thing it's not a deep movie, but it flies and it's entertaining. It's directed by Lee Van Kiet, I believe is how you pronounce it. He also directed a film called Fury, which is a Vietnamese action film that apparently put him on the map. But this is no fat, like straight lightning, and it is so much fun. She even gets an Archer moment where like the princess, which I was kind of sad she doesn't have a name. She's just the princess. But
yeah, I was looking it up on Wikipedia, and it's the Princess Julius Moria and Lynn.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Lynn is her kick-ass friend that she gets to have some pretty cool doubles fights with. But yeah, like there's a scene where she gets into like a part of the castle where there's some people drinking, and like she takes someone's mug and then just chugs. And she does the Archer thing where she like holds up her finger while she's talking, while she's drinking.
I'm watching the trailer for it right now.
Are you watching the trailer while I'm talking about this?
Oh, is it? Oh, it's feeding through. I'm sorry. I pulled it up and I had the board set.
Okay.
And yeah, I am watching the trailer while you talk about it, and it looks awesome.
The trailer doesn't. I think the trailer doesn't even do it justice because there's no voiceover like there is in the trailer. They don't use Bad Reputation.
Yeah.
But the trailer is still a really cool shorthand to get people in because it might tap into that sort of, oh, Shrek, Princess Fiona, big fight energy. And then it's just so much better.
Hey, real quick.
It is a solid action. Yeah.
Real quick. Who's the guy, the young Stark?
Dominic Cooper.
Dominic Cooper and Carl Urban should be in a movie as brothers together.
That would be so awesome.
I mean,
get him on the next season of The Boys.
Dude, I'm looking at it right now. I paused it on him, and he's a dead ringer for Carl Urban with a beard. Just like two psychos just mowing down villains. Yeah. I would totally watch that film. Yeah. All right. I'm just a real big Carl Urban fan. Like, I like Dominic Cooper, too. Like, yeah. I'm a big fan of both of those guys. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail the conversation about that, but I saw that and I'm like, oh my God, he's a dead ringer for Carl Urban. Yeah, it's pretty spooky how close he is. Awesome. All right, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. Any other movies, or are we going over to news? That's all for movies, but I will make a series recommendation very quickly. I'm only about halfway through this, but it's won me over so hardcore. FX has a show called The Bear, and it's about a Chicago, like a Chicago cheesesteak joint. I think it's like a cheesesteak joint. People from Chicago are gonna hate me so much right now. But basically, it's in like a quick service restaurant, like a pizza parlor or something, a hole in the wall. Okay. And this guy named Carmine, his brother died and left him the restaurant, and he's like a big deal when it comes to like chefing. Like he worked at one of the best restaurants. He has a great education. Like he's top flight. And then he goes to work at this hole in the wall, and people really don't know why. And
from the first episode, this show, it's a half-hour drama, so it's like 8 episodes, half-hour each. It's all streaming on Hulu right now. They have this episode, the first episode has such an electricity in how it sets things up and how fast-paced it is that I was just instantly hooked, and the show just continues to go on to be fantastic. And this needs more love to it because I don't want to see it go away. There's some fantastic performances in here. Jeremy Allen White from Shameless is the lead. But every character, everybody has their thing, and it all works so perfectly together, and it's just so damn tight.
And that's The Bear on Hulu?
Yep, it's The Bear. It's an FX show, but it's one of those things where since FX and Hulu are in the same family, it's streaming all on Hulu. Like, all 8 episodes are available right now.
Okay, awesome.
It's a quick binge. Like I said, like half-hour episodes. We're halfway through it over here, and I can't wait to finish it.
Nice. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com.
A lot of swearing, though, I will warn you.
Speaking of series, Only Murders in the Building, season 2 premiered this week.
I still need to start that because I know you are in on that show.
I am into a point now. Second season has Amy Schumer in it, and she is so annoying. I've never been a giant fan of hers. I don't get her. It's just not my thing. And I didn't know she was going to be in this season. It's just a little. Everybody else they've had in it fits really well. Like Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez. She's great in this. She's awesome in this series. Tina Fey's got a small bit part in it.
Surprises me.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really. There hasn't been a complaint. Yeah, and then she's in it, and it's just like, They're trying to do with her what they kind of did with Sting last season, and it's in 2 episodes it's not working, and I'm more annoyed by her than anything. It just doesn't fit. It's like, oh, let's put Amy Schumer in here.
This really bums me out, man.
And listen, I'm sure Amy Schumer is a very nice human being and stuff. She's just not my thing.
Depending on who you talk to.
What's that?
Depending on who you talk to.
No, I'm just saying for me, I'm not.
I thought I'd heard. Oh, okay, yeah. Moving on.
You thought I was speaking for all of humanity about Amy Schumer.
No, I was saying depending on who you talk to, because I thought I'd heard some stories where she wasn't so nice, but anybody can hear stories.
It's not just that. It's just I don't think she's particularly funny. Yeah, you look at like Tina Fey's in this, and she does a very, very good job. Like, she's the right sort. It's the right level of comedy that she needs to have in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Amy always seems like she's going. She's like I'm trying to think of a great. It's almost like Family Guy, where it's so over the top.
Yeah, she goes full tilt and she doesn't scale back.
Yeah, it's just. I'm just not a fan. That's all I can say. But
like a comedy sledgehammer.
Yeah, it's I don't know. The series other than her has been great so far. So yeah. Wonder how many people I made mad here.
I guess we'll also see how that plays out through the rest of the season, because I believe they just got started, and that is a weekly drop on Hulu every Tuesday, is it?
I think so. I don't know. What happened to your audio?
I had to go back on speaker because my earbuds gave out.
Okay, all right. That's cool. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. All right, let's do some news real quick before we get too off the beaten trail as I complain about things because I'm old and turning gray. What do we got news-wise this week? I don't think I've seen too much that really sticks out, but I could be wrong. You're more the movie person than I am.
Did you see the trailer for Ticket to Paradise?
No, I did not.
Okay, so we've got a big studio rom-com heading our way where George Clooney and Julia Roberts have reunited. They play a divorced couple who are going to their daughter's wedding. And they basically say, okay, we're going to put aside our differences and we're going to stop her from getting married because she's way too young. She's going to make the same mistakes we did.
Okay.
This looks genuinely charming and like a lot of fun. Like Julia Roberts and George Clooney sniping at each other, trying to stop their daughter from getting married in like an island paradise or a tropical paradise.
What's a better couple, George Clooney and Julia there, or Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan?
Oh, see,
right? It's a tough question.
That's hard, but I want to say Clooney Roberts and that's only because of my preferences in rom-coms are the ones where it's very fast-paced and witty, and they're not always like on the same page. Like they have that to a certain extent in the Hanks Ryan movies, but it tends to be a little more mushy and a little more dramatic. And that's not to say they're bad. It's just that's a preference. Honestly, why aren't we throwing these two couples into the ultimate rom-com and having them like compete against each other for something or in like some sort of battle?
Oh,
like, could you imagine that?
Like you remember what was the movie where it was
Like
like
house fitting.
No, I was thinking more like a Christmas movie where it's like the lighting war and who does Christmas better or something like that.
Oh, that's no.
Yes.
And after Deck the Halls, no one's gonna want to watch that.
Okay, all right. Here, try this one. What about a new Great Outdoors?
Okay.
That's
and bring back Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, Dan Aykroyd could be like the owner of the cabin or whatever.
Oh, yes. Oh, and then he's just like, he's got those weird stories about what's going on in those woods out there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, a bear once chased a guy through the
There's
woods.
some really interesting cryptid activity out here.
The bald-headed bear of, what was it, Brown County or something?
That's brilliant. I want that.
Oh, okay. There we go. We've solved that mystery. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line. What else going on in news?
Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel got a release date. We are looking at the next film coming out next Christmas.
That's an interesting date for Ghostbusters.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is Afterlife came out in like mid-November last year, which was also interesting because Ghostbusters has traditionally been like a summer thing. Like June '84 was Ghostbusters 1. I want to say Ghostbusters 2 was still a summer movie, but now it looks like they're sort of making a play for maybe it's because they sort of switched to more of a family sort of model, but they're shifting to more of a holiday release date. And look, for years, we have heard the most wonderful time of the year, one of the biggest Christmas songs ever, telling us about scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. Why aren't we having more ghost stories and glories at Christmases now?
I don't know, Mike Reyes.
Exactly. And while it doesn't have a title, they have code names for the movies. Like they'll have working titles that they shoot the movies under. Afterlife was shot under the title Rust City, and they basically announced that since the ending of Afterlife, spoiler alert, sees Winston reopening the firehouse, they named the new movie the code name for the new movie's Firehouse. But it's going to go back to like the old Ghostbusters HQ. And I think they're going to be filming soon. But yeah, I thought it was pretty quick considering the last one came out last year. They must have had a story in the chamber or something really easy to work on in the meantime.
Yeah.
Because this feels like a really quick a quick pace compared to another piece of news we got this week. Do you have any more to say about Ghostbusters before we move on?
No, at first when you said the release date, I was like, what if they did like a Christmas Carol style Ghostbusters movie? But then I thought about Ghostbusters 2 was already set in the holiday season, so that'd probably be beating a dead horse. So.
And you've also got Scrooge.
And Scrooge, so. No, nothing else. It's cool. I'll be excited to see it. I hope it. I kind of wish they'd go kids movie on one side and then the like Ghostbusters feel we all know and love on the other side.
Yeah, I could see that. Oh, you had a lot to say about Ghostbusters for somebody that said they had nothing more to say about Ghostbusters.
I lied.
You did, you son of a bitch.
What else we got in news?
Okay. Ghostbusters seems like it's on a fast track, but the James Bond series seems to be on a slower track than most may have thought. During an event that was held this week in London, Barbara Broccoli, one of the producers that oversees the whole show, basically said that there's no one in the running. They don't even have a script yet, and they're reinventing James Bond, is what she said. So they have to figure out how they're going to do what they're going to do with the next story. And filming is not for another 2 years. You know what? I don't hate. People are very back and forth about what they think about that. I would rather them take time and do it right than to just, hey, we have to get another movie out there, you know? See, that I think that too, even though, to be honest, when they were going at a steady clip, it wasn't that bad. But a lot of it's like some people are saying, "Oh, they've been overthinking it since Die Another Day," and just get things back on track. And it's not going to be easy, especially considering the era of Bond that you're coming out of and how No Time to Die ends.
Yeah,
like, you really do kind of need to think where you're going, because the Daniel Craig era was the first big reboot, and it was all continuous. So now there needs to be thoughts and conversations had. I mean, am I happy that it's going to be another 2 years for them to start filming? Not necessarily, but at the same time, I agree. I don't think they should rush into things.
I get you.
But at the same time, if you're going to take this long, have a plan. Have a plan for like a couple of years.
Yeah, I get you. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. What if they did a kid's version of James Bond, and that's the new movies?
I believe that's called James Bond Jr., and it was a TV show in the 80s. It was a cartoon. There's also the Young Bond book.
So kind of like young Indiana Jones?
Kind of, yeah.
Huh, interesting. I wish we'd get more of that instead of old versions of them.
So anyway, I do have a kind of fun story that came out. That came out of my...
Wait, I just had a thought. What if you did an Indiana Jones story where you have it as Harrison Ford telling a story to somebody, and that's how you do the younger version of him?
I think that's exactly how Young Indiana Jones went. They opened with like an older Harrison Ford at some point, and he's telling. It's basically the framing device is him telling stories about his life, I think.
Yeah, but for the movies, I don't remember. It probably could have happened like that. I'm sure it's not that original. But instead of getting Harrison Ford trying to run around being Indiana Jones, what if you had him telling the story in the next movie, and then you flash back to some other adventure he had?
I guess.
I don't know. It's like Harrison Ford isn't going to be able to do this forever. We should probably.
Well, that's why 5 is the last one.
Yeah. Will it be until he's gone and they decide to do it anyways? What's our final story this week, Mike?
I actually have 2 stories I want to talk about because this came from my conversations during Minions: The Rise of Gru.
Okay.
So I got to talk to Danny Trejo and Steve Carell.
Okay.
And when I was talking with Danny Trejo, since he's a huge collaborator with like Robert Rodriguez, he's in almost a lot of things that he does, not almost everything, but a lot of stuff he does, including Book of Boba Fett. I asked him, like, why weren't you an Alita Battle Angel? Because I was really curious. And he's like, I don't know. I even asked Robert Rodriguez that same thing. I was almost in Sin City, but, they told me they needed someone uglier, so they got Mickey Rourke to do it. Yeah, like apparently they needed someone. He said that Robert Rodriguez said they needed someone really uglier to play Marv, so they got Mickey Rourke to do it.
I just think it's funny that you managed to get Alita Battle Angel into a lot of places that I don't imagine that's come. Like, I didn't think at the beginning of this we were going to have an Alita Battle Angel story.
Again, Danny Trejo works a lot with Robert Rodriguez, and it was kind of funny to see that he wasn't in there. Like, almost, like, not all of his stuff, but again, a good number of his projects have him in there in some way.
I know.
Like, why wasn't he in that one?
I know. What was the other story?
I guess I'll share it with you if it catches your interest.
All right, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every week on the show.
That was good. That was very good. So they put out a quick video for Minions: The Rise of Gru, where basically they remade the opening credits to The Office and like certain iconic moments with Gru and the Minions. So I was just curious. I had to ask Steve Carell. It's like, okay, what episode would you want to see remade? What would you think would be a fun episode to remake with the Minions? And he very straightforwardly was like, I think what they've done already is good. I don't think it would really hold up to a full episode. And I found that to be a very diplomatic, but very relatable answer, because like some of the stuff they did on, like everybody keeps talking about the Jim and Pam story from that show. And I know that's a big deal, even though I haven't really watched the show. Like, I've seen a couple episodes here and there. But they write that whole thing off as like a gag where 2 minions kiss, and then they're like, ew, and like waving their arms all over the place. So you really couldn't go into that show and like remake some of these episodes with little yellow gibberish speaking things.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of funny because it was. Yeah.
I could see him giving the very political don't piss people off answer to something like that. You know what I would have asked him? I would have asked him why the hell we didn't get Smart 2.
Oh, well, I would have loved to ask that, but I could already tell that, A, there probably wasn't enough time, and B, the higher ups would probably be like, no one's really talking about that movie, and then I'd pound my fist on an imaginary desk and say, but I am, damn it.
That's right. That's when you stand
But
up
I
and you
would've
say,
loved that
I
because-
am Mike Reyes.
Although I do remember them like they were trying to plan one at one point, and then it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I was just looking at his film credits, and I saw Get Smart, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot how much I love that movie. On that note, Mike Reyes from Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every week. Talk about movies. Mike, you have yourself a good weekend, okay?
You too, man. Have fun, everyone. If you go see Minions, I'm sorry.